Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we're going to be zooming out on the charts a little bit and taking a look at more of the macro view of the total cryptocurrency market cap and taking a look over at the dollar index and kind of how it all fits together. Obviously, the dollar or the DXY has been a hot topic lately on Twitter, especially when we're looking at this chart right here. This is silver, the precious metal silver, which is in full-blown breakout mode, and the dollar is also falling drastically right now. As you guys know, we always talk about the supporter of this channel before we get started, so today let's talk about unstoppable domains. This video is brought to you uninterrupted by advertisements. Get your own .crypto domain address where you can link nearly all of your major cryptocurrency addresses and pay ID into one simple domain. Rather than giving out each long string address for each asset, a .crypto address makes it easy to receive assets by simply providing your domain to the sender. For example, mine is bcbacker.crypto. Have one domain with one address for all of your assets. Get yours today by visiting the affiliate link in the description of this video to Unstoppable Domains, which is a founding member of Ripple's Open Payments Coalition for PayID. Now, I'm not going to dive into all the fundamental reasons on why the dollar is going to be losing a lot of its value soon, but I think we all kind of know, right? There's a lot of money printing that happens, and with all the different stimulus plans that are going on, and I don't want to get political about it, but I'll just educate it a little bit. If you don't know, I don't have a political affiliation with any party. I do reside in the United States, but I don't have a political affiliation with either party. But essentially what's happening here is that on July 31st, all of the additional stimulus payments that are being provided to people who are unemployed is set to expire. So currently they get $600 extra per week if they are unemployed. Well, that's going to expire on July 31st. If that does expire, you're going to watch like 20 to 30 million people suddenly lose all of that income all at once. So it would be just like, boom, this big snap in the economy if where consumers won't have money to spend. We have not presented or proposed a new bill on what we're going to do when that time comes. So it's kind of been like this delay tactic, waiting to the very, very end. There's going to be a bill that's going to be proposed this week, but essentially there's not even going to be enough time to negotiate about it, right? It's going to be one side yelling at the other side, and they're going to have to rush this bill through because they intentionally held it all the way to the end, and then both parties will scream at each other, and then boom, something will get passed because we won't worry about the long-term consequences. We're going to be worrying about the short-term consequences. So there's no telling what's going to be in that bill, but most likely somebody is taking a peek at it and has an idea of how much more debt, how much more money printing is going to occur to fund this bill, hence why we're seeing some type of a breakout right now in precious metals and a fall in the dollar. Now, I'm not sitting here blaming one side for delaying it to the last second. I think they both do that. I'm sure behind closed doors, they both say, look, the only way we're going to get the American people on board to agreeing with this thing is if we get them angry, we get them yelling at each other and get them saying, we need to pass something now. The deadline's approaching. So I think this is a strategy both of them are using to hold it to the very last second. And then it gets everybody on board. It gets Twitter yelling at each other. It gets Facebook yelling at each other, and the people saying, just pass it because we're going to collapse if we don't do something. So long-term consequences will be disregarded in order to save the short term. That's going to happen within a week from right now, is that the United States will add on all these additional $1 trillion in debt and $1 trillion in money printing. Hence, why it's probably the timing of why we're getting these breakouts in precious metals and why we're seeing a nice little fall in the dollar. Of course, from a technical perspective, we've been expecting this, right? If you've watched this channel in the past, we've talked about the dollar index or the DXY several times. And that's sometimes why I always say it feels like we live in some type of a simulation, that somehow these events can all occur technically when they should be happening on the charts. It's the strangest thing in the entire world to be able to look at a chart and see something that's supposed to happen, and then events start to unfold to tell the narrative of the chart. It's the strangest thing. But either way, what I really wanted to do is take a little bit of a zoomed out look here on the dollar index, because back in 2017, during this fall of the dollar index, where the dollar's purchasing power fell from in this index from a 103 all the way down to an 88. During this time period, this is when we had the cryptocurrency bull run. So cryptos were flying, Bitcoin was flying, and we had two different alt seasons during this big fall in the dollar. Once the dollar found its bottom, cryptos went into a bear market. But now the dollar shows that it's starting to roll over again. So let's talk about this chart and where we think it's going. I pointed to it many times, and I will make a more dedicated video in another time on why I believe that our first big major target for the dollar is going to be way down here at a 78. I'm not going to dive into that too hard right now because it would just be such a long video. But if you search in my videos for DXY, you may find the video that I've posted where I really kind of tried to present an argument on why this area is the level. I'll make another one in the future, but for now, that's where I'm expecting it to go. But it's not super important for what we're going to be talking about in this video. In this video, we're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on, right? The dollar is starting to fall. Why haven't cryptos really just started mooning at this point, right? If we're seeing that silver is starting to break out, we're seeing that gold is starting to get right up to its all-time high. On the altcoin market cap, why haven't we at least seen something similar to what we've seen over there in silver and getting some type of move up while this dollar is falling? And of course, the Ripple XRP price chart is just sitting right here, sitting still, not doing anything during this time. So let's take a closer look at the DXY index and figure out what was going on in here that triggered alt seasons to begin. And why are we already having a move down to the downside here? Yeah, we haven't seen some type of big move up in cryptos. So right here on this chart, I have both of the bull runs for the altcoin market cap that took place back in 2017. It was really two main moments. You can see that, yes, we were grinding up in here during this time period between 2016 and 2017, but things really started to get moving in March through June. We had a big, massive rise during that time period, just if we measure from those 3 months. And then if we zoom over here, you can see prices, yes, they did bounce up and down, but relatively flat and started taking off here again in November. So you can see that the price actually was practically flat from this time period to this time period with just some volatility bouncing around it and then consolidating right here at that level till it finally took off and went. So the second bull run took place from November through January. And that's what these two markers right here on the DXY index represent. These are the time periods from when the alt seasons actually happened in crypto and what the dollar was doing at that time. The key thing to notice on this DXY chart is it doesn't just fall down in a straight line. So right now over here, we're seeing that this is moving down with some really big momentum. Your mind is telling you, yeah, it's just going to keep going like that. It's not. It's going to find some type of support and then, work its way down. However, it's going to end up deciding to do it, but it's not going to keep going at this velocity like this. History doesn't show us that it plays out like that. Even once it does move down really fast, it does find some support at some point and does have volatility bounces on the way down. I'm going to expect the same thing here, just like we did here, right? A big fall down, consolidation, big fall down, consolidation, big fall down. However, it's time, and I'm going to take these off the screen at this point, but we need to remember this, okay? You got to remember that the alt season started right here on this dot right here, on this area where it fell down initially, retraced, and then at this retrace was the beginning of the alt season, and the alt season started right here at the top of this retrace up here. We haven't had a retrace yet in this DXY. You can see that it came up with waves and then it hit its top, right? And then once it hit its top and it came back and it broke below that dot right there. So it came down and set a new lower low, right? So we have a higher high up here, and then we came down and hit a lower low that went lower than this area, and then retrace. And at that retrace is when we started our fall down. So right here, we came up and we hit our high, right? We have not set a new lower low yet. So that's what I would expect. I would expect us to come down here and set some type of lower low in relation to here, and then have some type of a retrace, something like this, that would take us back up into this area. And then this would be the mark of a very large alt season. So this would be like the big one that happened between March and June of 2017. So again, if you're looking at the DXY chart and you're saying to yourself, man, I see this dollar falling. It has fallen all the way from 103 down to 95, 94. Why is cryptocurrency, why is XRP not taking off yet, right? If it's falling, why isn't it taking off? And we have to look back to what happened the last time the dollar fell. And when the dollar fell and when it was trending, is when crypto started to take off. Right now, we don't have trending occurring because even at this exact moment in time, we still don't even have a lower low in the DXY. The first thing we have to do is get the lower low in place right here to take out this, and then we have to come back in and set a lower high. That's what we did back here in the DXY in March of 2017 or February of 2017. Once that lower low was in place, followed by a lower high, this marked the very beginning of the altcoin season. And then we had two different alt seasons that took place throughout this entire fall in the DXY. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the fact that we need to set a new low in the DXY. I do not expect it to just keep on plummeting. I guess it could. We're in strange times right now. Who knows what's going to be in that bill? And if they've got some trick up their sleeve that it's actually going to get delayed for a moment, hence why we're waiting to the last second. Maybe there's some mysterious delay that happens that pushes the DXY up to where it's supposed to go. And then finally they, put out the stimulus and just print a ton of money and then we go all the way down. No way to know how the fundamental news will play out along with this, but this is what I'm really looking for, is something similar to what we saw in the past, where we see that the dollar is actually trending in the downward direction. And in order to have trending, we need to have lower lows and lower highs. So first mark, lower low, second mark, lower high. Now, the thing that would be interesting about all of that is it would kind of play into what we're talking about. I've been talking about how I'm expecting that the XRP price is going to fire up to 28 cents at just any given moment at this point. We're waiting for it to break above the 200-day moving average, and I expect it to come right up into this region right over here before it finds some resistance and then finds some volatility in here and stays in this area for probably another month. I could see that we just have some sudden burst out of here, and then boom, that's when that dollar starts to retrace and we start seeing our volatility hanging out right in here. So I do expect that XRP would fire up to 28 cents before we get a reversal, a temporary reversal on the DXY. And then as the DXY is retracing, that's when we'll start to see our consolidation right up here near 28 cents. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. Again, please visit the link in the description of this video to Unstoppable Domains, which is a founding member of Ripple's Open Payments Coalition for PayID, to get your own .crypto wallet address and domain today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. Please like this video. Give it a thumbs up. I always look at it. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.